You are now listening to the highlight reel builder for authors, the Going North podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer and author of the best-selling book, Stay the Course, Dom Brightman. And you're going to be getting some goodies today from the guest that's up next. And today on the super special, awesome podcast highlighting authors all over the globe, it's the Going North podcast. And thanks to my good buddy from down under, who's a super connector with the utility belt of spiritual awesomeness, Tyson Sharp. We got another human for today, folks. We got another ghost, y'all, another Casper, another Casper Jr., another Casper Sr. Then, of course, we got Jasper, too, even though there's really no Jasper. But yeah, just a day, another one of those ghostwriters, baby. A ghostwriter for over 20 books, y'all. 20 books and counting, with a fiction novel of her own coming out in the very near future. And she's been in business for over 11 years, y'all. Over 11 years. So that's right. So a decade of dollars to make you holler, plus a 1-year-old. So let's give it up for the one, the only Wendy S. How you doing today, Wendy?
I am very well, Dom, and thank you so much for having me.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, as you know, with all introductions, you know, they're not allowed to be 7 days long. And I probably forgot a whole bunch of details. Am I filling in any cavities I missed about you?
Well, I've actually been in business longer than 11 years. Well, I guess it depends on how you define being in business. I don't like to think of my what I do as a business. It's more as a service, a public service, or an offering to people who really want to get their stories out there. A lot of times in the form of a book, but they really don't know where to start, or they don't have time to do it. So that's kind of where I come in.
Oh, okay. All right. That's rest of service indeed. So all the Purple Hearts, I imagine.
The Purple Hearts.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I work with a lot of individuals who it's been their dream to share a story, whether it's a business story or a personal story, a fiction story. But there's usually some kind of personal appeal to it. There's a personal reason, a calling, and a lot of times it's been for years.
For years indeed. For years indeed. So, with the service of writing for others, did you always see yourself as being a writer when you were like 12, or was it something totally different?
No, actually, since I was 8, I started writing when I was 8, and I haven't stopped. And I've written all kinds of things throughout my life, and I always wanted to be a teacher as well. And I was a teacher at university and colleges in the community, and a homeschooling teacher as well. So I've always combined the teaching and writing together. I think it's based on something I learned in university, which is from Sir Philip Sidney, which is all writing should teach and delight. But I just have that. Those are my passions, is helping others and teaching others, and also doing my own writing, helping others through my stories and helping others tell their stories.
There you go. There you go. From 8 to 28, that's what I'm talking about. The
Yeah, sure. It's been a little longer than that, but I don't have to say.
Okay, fine, 29.
Been a
Jeez.
long time. Been a long time.
Uh, okay, that's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. Longer than all the wiener dogs, I imagine. Oh man. So yesterday, so you got this magical fiction novel under another pen name. So why another pen name? Why not just come out as yourself?
Well, that's a very good question, because it's not really about me. It's about the story, and I think names match different stories. there's just a certain idea of a title and the name of the author who wrote it. I'm my authentic self all the time, and I just think it's not always about me, it's about the story. But yeah, I've been working on that fiction novel for a while, and I'd love to talk to you about it another time, but I'm really excited about a book that has just come out, and it is way more than a book. It's there's nothing out there like it. It's called Write a Book in 21 Days by Discovering the Story Within. And it is really a hybrid coaching, mentoring, guiding, writing program. And a lot of people think, well, I can't write something in 21 days, or I need to write for hours and hours a day, or whatever. But really, you can in 21 days have your book written where you visualize it. And this program is to really help you bring it out. Now, you could read a book on how to do it. You could go online and you can read about it. You can hire a mentor or a coach or a guide, even a ghostwriter. But this program really combines all of that into a 21-day period. And if you need to lapse a couple days, which I wouldn't recommend, you have like 30 days to do it. So if you're really motivated and you've had a story brewing for a while, this program really works. It's for the self-guided, self-motivated individual who would like to have the companionship of a professional writer to assist them through this process. So it's really exciting. I'm very excited about it because it's, like I said, there's nothing out there like it. And a lot of times people want to write a book, but they don't understand. I mean, with the advent of, online publishing, and of course there's traditional publishers and many different types of publishers in between, everybody wants to write a book, but it's really the most difficult form of communication. And people kind of go out there and they get started and then they stop, they get frustrated, or they don't even know how to start. This program is really for that person.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. Glad you threw that little disclaimer in there. It's for the self-motivated person. Indeed, that's right. You can't just be an office chair potato or couch potato and be like, I'm gonna write this book in 21 days by just thinking about it. That's right. Like, gotta be self-motivated, y'all.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I can't, we can't motivate people. Motivation has to come within. But if you have a guide to go with you along the way, a real person you can talk to, you could send a writing, an excerpt of your writing to, you could call them on the phone and ask a quick question. It really helps. It's like you're not alone, but you still need to be self-motivated. I can't help in that area, but if you are, I can really help you to achieve your goal.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. Indeed. That's what I'm
Mhm.
talking about. Indeed. So it led to the project of 21 days. It's like could have went with 30 days, maybe the classic 30. Heck, maybe it was 67 days. Like, is there particular reasoning behind the 21?
There is. They say, whoever they is, that a new habit is formed in 21 days. Although there's people that would say it could be 67, it could be 300 or whatever. But if you can change a small behavior and do it 21 days in a row, the writing will become a part of your routine. And part of my program is focused on writing every day for 15 minutes a day. Now, some people will say, oh, well, that's not enough. I need an hour. I need, 5 hours or whatever. And a lot of people say, I don't have the time. I just don't have the time to write a book. But you can do it in 15 minutes a day. And it's kind of like looking at the stock market or anything else. You watch it, it's flat. It is flat for a while, and then all of a sudden it skyrockets and it's exponential. And that's what's really happens with writing. If you can write 15 minutes a day, eventually you're going to have pages and pages and pages of draft. And you're going to go through and clear your mind in that 15 minutes a day for 21 days. So you can really see the story that you have, because we're so bogged down, we're so cluttered with way too much information, worries, stresses, and our to-do lists that we never have time to declutter. But the program goes a lot deeper than that. But basically, to get back to your question, 21 days, because in 21 days we can form a new habit. If you stay consistent with something for 21 days, if you walk a mile for 21 days, you're going to get in better shape. If you drink more water, you're going to be more hydrated, maybe more healthy. You write for 21 days, even when you don't feel like it, writing will become a part of your routine. And that's how books get done. They don't get done in 8 hours or, leave them for 10 years and then you pick them up again. They get done when you're consistent, because it becomes exponential.
That's right. Exponential, that compound effect, indeed. That's right. That's right, indeed. Not left.
As you can see, I'm very passionate about this because I have met in my life, I would say about 90% of the people that I meet, they either are writing a book, know someone that's writing a book, or someone has told them, hey, you should write a book. But like they said, there's not the discipline of it. Writing, it's got a lot of myths to it. You have to be sitting in a castle with candles, or, and some, you have to go away somewhere, which would be great if you can do it. But for most people, that's not practical. But if you can, spend 15 minutes a day eating or taking a shower, why not writing? But again, you have to be very motivated and passionate about getting it done. So I always say it's our own mind and it's our own mindset that holds us back from achieving our dreams and goals. So we tell ourselves a lot of things like, I need an hour, or I need 5 hours, or I need to, be in a quiet place. So we set up these barriers. And so my program is for people who are really willing to learn something new, go out of their comfort zone, look outside of their radar screen and be willing to try. That's really who my program is for.
Yes, indeed. And definitely right about it being a mindset thing, indeed. That's probably one of the reasons why it's kind of like a buzzword in the entrepreneurial space where it's like, yeah, get your mind right. That's right. And then do something afterwards. Some people do one or the other. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just basically writing is visualizing. If you can visualize yourself writing, if you can visualize the end product, the end goal, when your book is done, how you're going to feel, how it's going to affect people. And I always say to people, that people that say, well, I've been working on this book for 5 years. And I'm like, well, why is your message important to get out to others? Well, yes. Okay. Why are you making them wait? It needs to get out there now, instead of 5, 10, 15 years from now. And it really all comes back to mindset and the barriers that we set up for ourselves. And that's what this program tries to do, is to break those barriers. But you have to be willing to learn new things and to try and to kind of twist your brain a little bit than what you think you need to do. So that's where that comes in.
That's right, where it comes in, indeed. So, out of curiosity, with this wonderful project, helping folks get their books written in 21 days, it's probably been the quickest ghostwriting project you've completed. Because I know some people they can write a book in 1 day, some people can write a book in a week. So, it was probably your quickest turnaround time for a ghostwritten project of your own.
It really isn't dependent on me. I become a team with the author. Even if the author isn't doing a lot of writing per se, they're reviewing what I write, they give me feedback. The way I work on projects is that we're part of a writing team. So we may do interviews, I may review written materials that they have. I do lots of research to add to it. And it's not so much about being quick about it. It is about ghostwriting is a lot of like being an actor. or actress, because you have to learn your subject matter and you have to become that person. You have to be very empathetic. And once you know the person well, how they would feel, how they would react in a certain situation, and you have to see the story and you write it. So it's not, when it's a personal project, those projects are usually extended. Probably some of the quickest ghostwriting things I've done is for businesses when I was doing simple blogs. A lot of businesses will have blogs about, a related topic to their business where they want to draw people in, like, how can I save money on a vacation? What are 10 ways? And you write something like that, draws them in, and then they see your company, that you offer travel services or something like that. I'm just making this up as far as the company goes. But just to give you an idea, those were some of my quicker writings that I have done. Of course, I'm also a journalist, and those articles that I do, those are pretty quick writes. But as far as books, those are a lot more involved. There's a relationship there. So I don't know if I can really answer that question. But probably one of the more quicker projects I did was just a basic handbook of about on healthy living, 30, 40 pages. That was a quicker project, but the ghostwriting projects are usually a lot more involved.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Involved indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And it's kind of an interesting answer because it can be true because it seems like it's the traditional ghostwriting of someone's actual true living story where you have to really get to know the person and really just polish some things up and try to write the book that folks want to read and the story that they want to share with others. And compared to the other writings of, it's like, oh yeah, the Wendy special, throw a handbook of good stuff together, 40 pages, flat out, it's there. So yeah, it's definitely some interesting stuff it did. So with this project in particular, the 21 days. So besides time, are there any other obstacles you believe other folks should look out for with writing their book?
Well, I feel the main obstacle is ourselves and our belief system. I probably brought that up when I said mindset, but there's one thing in wanting to do something, and there's another thing in actually doing it. There's a big divide. Once you start getting into writing a book, it's a very mammoth undertaking, and you might be like, and I'm talking about aspiring authors, people who are writing for the first time, first or second time. It all of a sudden it's like you had this idea and then you realize it's a lot more difficult, it's a lot more involved, and there's just so much to writing a book. It's you're writing for yourself. Do I like the story? And sometimes people can't even get past that. Um, and sometimes they're worrying about, well, will my readers like this story? So that's an impediment. If you're constantly writing or worrying about what everybody else thinks, that can stop you. But I do believe your main barrier is yourself, even as you're writing, because in school we were taught to have perfect grammar, perfect spelling, perfect punctuation, skip every other line, whatever. So we were so worried about editing and formatting and what other people think that we can't even think ourselves. And part of my method involves something called free writing, which is used in college campuses and high schools around the country, is where you just write and you don't worry about all those things. You don't worry about punctuation and spelling, or even if you wrote a complete sentence, you don't worry if you even stayed on topic. And the purpose of that is, well, there's many purposes. Is first, declutter your mind, get rid of all these surface thoughts, worries, fears, whatever, that are bogging your mind down. And then when you're actually doing the creating, you don't want to be editing yourself while you're creating. There's a time and place for editing, and there are many different types of editing that I don't need to go into and bog everybody down. But if you're trying to create while you're editing, it's like trying to plant little trees while forest fire is is ensuing. It's just nearly impossible. And I think writing is really romanticized, that people sit down with a pen and paper or a computer screen and there's writing perfect from the beginning. And that's really not the case. There's a lot of stops and starts. There's a lot of throwing out of things, as well as, another thing that can impede us is form. If we're trying to write to a certain form, I want to have 20 chapters. I want them to be this long. I want each chapter to talk about this. And so now you've already have this format and you're trying to fill in the blanks. Well, it's like coloring when you're a kid, coloring in the lines of a pre-drawn picture. And that really hinders the creativity of writers. So to answer your question in a roundabout way, I mean, there's so many things that can stop us. I think the first one is ourselves, our beliefs, having the discipline. It's also if we edit while we write, we're too worried about how things sound. We're too worried about what everybody else thinks, or we're just, editing while we're trying to create. And I would even go a step further as to trying to bring families and friends into it. Writing a book, you should be as excited as I am. And they're like, well, what are you doing that for? There's no money in that. Well, writers, true authors don't write for money. They write for service. They write to share a message. Now, if they make money on it, that's a great byproduct. But in trying to help others with the message, and I believe this is true. If you go into anything just purely wanting to make money, your heart and your passion isn't into it. So there's a lot of things that can block a writer. And those are some of them. Those are the main ones. And so my program in 21 days is trying to break that, is trying to break all those beliefs and habits and all of that. If you're willing to give up, well, I shouldn't say give up, but dedicate 21 days.
That's right. Love the forest fire analogy. That's right, indeed. It's so true. It's like, hey, don't go planting a tree. Smokey the Bear wouldn't be proud of that until after the forest fire is over.
I know. I recently actually had an encounter with a real bear. I was up in the Smoky Mountains on a vacation, and I was on the trail, and a bear just came right up on the trail. And I did what you weren't supposed to do. I ran.
Well, glad you're still alive then.
Still here.
Exactly. I'm glad you're still alive. I'm guessing you saw him, but he didn't see you. Is that how it worked out?
He saw me. He probably wasn't interested, but they're used to humans there. There's so many people that go to the Smoky Mountains, but yeah, it was an experience.
A magical experience indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right, folks. That's right. 21 days, y'all. That's right. 21 days, you'll get to have your book draft done. Or is it the whole complete package? Is like first draft done, or is it like complete, ready to send it off to be edited and get a book cover and all that good stuff?
That's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked it, because there's a difference between writing and writing. I recently saw a young lady's post on LinkedIn where she said that she, booked a trip to Hawaii. She spent a week, I don't know how long she said, but she spent some time there, wrote her book, and then gave it to editors and publishers. So in answering your question, I can't guarantee that in 21 days, your book's going to be ready to go to a publisher. It's more than that. When you write something, there's different definitions of write. When you're writing your story, you're seeing it, and you're seeing things play out. And because writers visualize and then they write down what they see. Now, if you think back to, I'm trying to think which composer was that, who was deaf, and he composed his final musical score because he heard it in his head and he was able to write down with the music. I'm not saying I'm a prodigy or you will be a prodigy, but I'm saying it's a similar thing where you can see your story and write it down. And sometimes even the characters will write their, or circumstances will come to light as you're writing. So you're constantly discovering. So if you're writing, for example, War and Peace, you're not going to have it done in 21 days, but you will probably see, if you stick with this program, you will probably see that whole story played out within 21 days. So you can go in there and be more specific in your writing, more detailed in your writing. But let's just say you're writing a how-to book that's 50 pages, about a subject that you know very well. You may very well have it done in 21 days. My point is with the 21 days is that you would see your vision at the very least of your book within 21 days and probably beyond that vision. And then if it gets done in 21 days, that's really up to you, like how much effort and time and work you're going to put into it. But this program will definitely instill your ability to see a vision within 21 days if you follow what it asks. So there's a textbook that's got 50 years of writing experience, wisdom, things in there that you will not see anywhere else, because those are my personal experiences and wisdom I have gained through a vast array of writing experiences and life experiences that I've had. Then there's a 100-page workbook where you are geared to do a challenge every day. Again, you need to commit to 21 days in a row. That includes Saturday and Sunday. And then if you need to skip a day, or let's just say you're not feeling that great, you have to default to what I call the 5-minute rule. So even if you don't feel like it, you have to take 5 minutes and write that day, because once you break the chain of writing consistently, you will stop. And this is why so many people say, well, I started working on a book and then I stepped off and I'm not working on it anymore. It's because of that very reason. They stopped one day, then they said, well, I stopped that day, I can stop the next day. So you have to be very consistent. Go back to 5 minutes if you can't write that day, or you're not feeling good or whatever. But you really shouldn't try to do that in this program. But that's why I say within 30 days, you should have the program done, in case there are a couple of days where you have to just write 5 minutes a day. And then on top of that, with no other, and so these challenges are all based on my own experiences in teaching others. I've taught a lot of people. I've taught university students. I've taught community college students. I've taught English as a second language speaker, or people whose first language is in English. In the community, I've taught homeschoolers of all different ages. I have taught dyslexic students, and those are students who have troubles reading. So this is all based on all of my experiences. So this is way more than 11 years here. This is 50 years of writing experience. And then in addition to that, you get me as your mentoring guide for 30 days. Now, that's unheard of. If you're going to go hire a coach or an editor or a ghostwriter, I don't want to put myself out of business with ghostwriting, but it can be a costly experience. So here in this program, if you're willing to say, hey, for 21 days, I'm going to work really hard, you have all of this experience and knowledge and wisdom, and even a person that you can call, email, maybe even show an excerpt of writing. What do you think about this? Okay, because you don't want to show your family and friends, because your family and friends are going to go, we love it. That's what they're going to say. And I will probably say, I like it too, but then I'll give some guidance. So that's what you really get in this program. And that's why it's so amazing and unique. There's just nothing out there like it.
Yeah, that's right, indeed. That's right. Got to get those beta readers, indeed. That's right. That's right. The folks that you can trust, indeed. Not just going to say, oh, yeah, it's good. Yeah, I read all 5 pages of it.
Right. And with beta readers too, I don't know if I mean, beta readers are, that's a popular thing. That's where people actually pay people to read it, or there might be authors that work together and they say, hey, you read my book, I'll read yours. I really like to go to the target audience. So when I went to my, what you'd call beta readers, I actually went to people who were authors on Facebook. I asked them if they wanted to go through my program, and I asked them for feedback to see. So I asked people who really wanted to write a book. And so I would suggest, if you're writing a book, to go to the people that you would want to benefit from your book and have them read it, not just people who are beta readers out there, but your specific target audience. So, if you're writing young adult fiction targeted to young ladies, ask, girls ages 15 to 25 to read it. If you're targeting writers like I did, ask, people that have never written a book, did you understand it? Did it make sense? What was hard in the program? What was easy? Go to your target audience for everything, whether it's marketing, publishing, reading, and don't go beyond your target readers, which means you have to have an audience other than just, oh, well, the book's for everybody. Well, your book should not be for everybody. That's way too general. Hone in on a target audience. And if there's people outside of that group who like it and can benefit from it, that's great. But always focus in on who you're writing the book for, but not until you yourself are satisfied with your message. Once you're satisfied and you have to like it, then you go outside of yourself and ask people in your target audience. But so you can't just write for your audience. You have to know yourself as well.
Yeah, that's right. Got to know your tall J audience, y'all. That's right.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? I mean, it sounds really simple. I get that question a lot. Well, how do I reach how do I sell books, or how do I do this? And that's really not my area of expertise, but I can tell you, always look at your, as you said, target audience. Where do they read their books? Where do they get their books? How do they buy their books? What do they like to read? I mean, that's really your answer when you first write for yourself, and then you go outside, and you would do that for how you're going to publish, how you're going to market. It's all related.
Oh, yeah. That's right. It's all related. It's all family, y'all. That's right. That's
That's
right,
right.
indeed. That's right. It's like Fast and Furious. It's all family, y'all. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes,
So are you
indeed.
writing anything? Are you working on anything?
Oh yeah, yeah. Book number 4, but technically solo book number 4. It's gonna be a more tactical book about writing a book of your own and starting a podcast. The working title is Pod Book It: The Three Phases of Greatness. So yeah, it's gonna be hotter than fish grease.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's gonna be awesome with all the sauce. Indeed, it'll be A1.
Yeah, that's great. And the other thing is, when you're writing a book, don't think of other writers as competition, because really, how voracious readers, people that read in a certain genre, they like to read everything in that, and you really, other writers, fellow writers, can be your friends. They can be your, just, they're a part of the writing community. I just don't see it as there being any looking at them as competition. So I think it's really cool that you're writing a book and starting a podcast. I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you. That's right.
Hmm.
Gonna be wearing my wizard hat through the whole process. I don't have a wizard hat.
Oh gosh.
Don't worry, it might be a peach hat though. So we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is, if you know, wake
Uh-oh.
up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in 2021 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Listen to your elders. They know stuff. So I think when you're that age, at least I did. I thought I knew everything there was to know about life. And of course, my mother had passed away when I was a teenager, so I was kind of, left on my own to figure stuff out. But I still had some elders around me, and I just, I figured I knew all the answers. I knew what to do, but I realized that they had a lot of wisdom to impart based on their own life experiences and their observations. And I would say, I wish I would have listened sometimes. And that's the wisdom I would impart, is just, be open-minded, I guess, would be the answer to that. As far as advice that I could have been getting from others, instead of thinking I knew all the answers. That's what I would say. It would have made life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. That's right, indeed. That's right, y'all. She could have avoided those Legos while being barefoot, y'all. It could have happened if she just listened to her elders.
The thing is, you've got to kind of experience yourself to figure out, you got to experience life yourself to figure out what works, what doesn't work. And so, like I said, but in looking back, I just remember a lot of wisdom that some of my relatives were telling me and that I didn't follow, that I kind of wish I would have. But hey, that's life, I guess. Maybe I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't go down a different path.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Could have been a
What
zombie
about you?
instead.
What's your advice on that?
Oh yeah, eat more peaches so you can feel more peachy. That's right. That's right. Because if you eat those lemonades and the lemons start talking to you, it's game over. Especially when Smoky Mountain's involved.
Lemons are really good for you. And one little fun fact I learned was that I pretty much broke all the rules in bear country. I brought a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with me, and I didn't have it in a bear canister. And I heard that they like coffee, and they like if you shampoo your hair in like a fruity, like a herbal essence or something like that. So I pretty much broke all the bear rules. But lemons are good medicine. Lemons are probably, that's why people put them at lemon water in restaurants and that. Very healthy for you.
Yeah, that's right. All the health indeed. Oh yeah. That's what
And
I'm
that's
talking
one part,
about.
yeah. And that's one thing that I mentioned in my program. I was showing the book to a friend, and they said, well, what is eating healthy and getting enough sleep have to do with writing? And I was like, really? Well, if you're tired and you're cranky and you're not feeling good, how are you going to tap into your subconscious? How are you going to tap into your creativity if you're not feeling good? Because you're going to be focused on that you don't feel good. You haven't gotten enough sleep, or you're not getting the right nutrition. It's all interrelated. And actually the lessons in my program, they kind of go along the line of anything you do in life. You could apply the lessons here to any undertaking, not just writing.
Yeah, definitely could say that again indeed, because so darn sure it's all together. Like peanut butter and
Mm-hmm.
jelly. That's right.
That's
That's
right.
right. Because that's our jam, y'all, if that's your type of thing. That's right. If jelly's not your thing, we can still jam out. That's right. Yes, yeah. That's right. There's a corn cob everywhere you turn here. Oh, well, for those who have escaped the cornfield and want to buy some copies of your marvelous books and get on the program for 21 days to making their book manifest into reality, what's the best way for folks to keep in touch with you and learn more about what you're doing?
Well, they can go to my website. It's authorswriter.com. So AUTHORSWRITER.com. The program is only available through my website. So it is a privately published program and is not on the mainstream, online bookstores or anything. So it is, because it is a mentoring program. It's not just a book. You also get access to a coach, mentor, guide. So you just purchase that through me, and you can shoot me an email at authorswriter@yahoo.com. That's AUTHORSWRITER@yahoo.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Head over to authorswriter.com. It'll all be in the show notes. Jump in on that program. Jump in with some bunny ears and some wooden clogs and jump on in there and make that book manifest in 21 days, y'all. I'm telling you. That's right. You'll even learn some tips on how to escape bears. I'm telling you, you'll get access to Wendy's secret four-leaf clover collection. She broke all the bear rules. She's still alive, so that means she's got a bunch of four-leaf clovers hiding around somewhere, and she might even let you have one of them, just one of them, maybe two if you give her an apple and put it on her desk for being a good teacher.
Maybe. Maybe. It's always good to stay on your teacher's good side, though, I do have to say.
That's right.
Right. And when my novel comes out, which I'm thinking within 6-7 months, I'd love to talk to you again about it. But right now, mom's the word, because it's still in process there. But I have to say that that idea came to fruition for a trilogy of novels, actually, when I was following my own program, because before I gave my program out to other writers who are aspiring authors, I did it myself. And that's how I got the idea for my novels. So I wanted to share that with others. So I just want to say this really works if you put your heart into it. But I'd love to come back on your show again if you would have me to talk about my novel. But I really thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, and very grateful for you to have me on your show.
Oh yeah, that's right. With all the R's indeed. With all the R's indeed. That's right, folks. She'll be back. She'll be back like, well, I'll keep it PG. I won't say what I was about to say. So any parting words before we close up shop?
Oh, yeah. Well, it might sound cliche because a lot of people, say everybody has a story to write or whatever, but and I don't know if everybody does or not. I'm not talking about personal stories like memoirs or autobiographies. It could be a fiction story. It could just be a skill you want to share with other people. But I do believe that writing is a way to break through your subconscious. I guess my parting word is, if you think of people that swim on the ocean, or sorry, on the surface of the ocean or the sea, and then there's the people that scuba dive. And really, writing is like being the scuba diver, because you have to dig down deep beneath the surface, beneath what everybody else is saying, and find something new and unique, which is in you, because you're a unique being. Now, each one of us is a unique being with different life experiences and knowledge and wisdom. So there's no one else like you. So your story would be unique. You just have to dive down deep to find it in your subconscious. And writing is a way to do that.
Thanks a bunch for listening to this podcast episode. Hope you really enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to this show if you haven't already, because more greatness is coming your way. And if you're so inclined, be sure to share with at least 3 other people in your network, so that way more folks can catch the fire that is on the Going North podcast. Keep winning at life and advance others to advance yourself.